FC24 meta playstyle is wingplay, and it's so difficult to defend because of many overpowered attacking mechanics in the game. Here are 6 steps you can use to defend wingplay and concede less goals, so let's straight away jump into it. Are you tired of matching up against overpowered squads? Visit u7buy.com for cheap and safe FC coins on the market. Remember to use the discount code DRFC for 6% off. Check the link in the description. To defend wingplay, first of all you need to defend the build-up, meaning you have to stop the plan before it progresses any further forward. And our first step is to maintain the team shape solid. You should avoid dragging players out of positions, especially center backs, and mainly when defending wingplay, you need to keep your fullbacks in their positions. This fullback plays a big role to defend the wingplay. The moment you drag him out of his position, and by any chance the opponent manages to drive into that open space, then it's hard to stop it. So if you struggle to keep your fullback in position, here is a simple basic way you can do it. First of all, you need to read the opponent's playstyle. If he's a type of player who likes to sprint a lot and attacks with speed, here you need to make a passive approach with your fullback. What do I mean by this? You don't rush to approach that ball holder with your fullback. Maintain his position and wait for the opponent's move. And if he sprints or try to pull out any trick to beat your fullback, then you're in a good position to defend that attempt. If you don't rush to move out, the opponent, who tends to just sprint forward, will have difficulties to deal with your fullback, since a lot of players, and normally the majority, tend to always sprint on the wing. For example here, after the kickoff the opponent passes to his winger. At this moment I'm already controlling my fullback Kyle Walker, so here I move out but a little bit because I know the opponent's tendencies. I move my defender in a way that I'm not rushing out and maintaining the fullback's position, but also covering the opponent's path towards my goal. As expected, the opponent tries to beat my defender with pace, but since I didn't rush out and remained in position, I was able to deal with. The last example, here the opponent is controlling his fullback, having these two options, so here I just maintain this fullback's position, and at the same time switching to my winger to apply some pressure. At the end he knew he will gain nothing by forcing it, so he turned away for other options. Our next step is to use the center back in a fullback's role. Since it's hard to always maintain that fullback's position, you need to have plan B, and that's your center back. This is least alternative you need when defending. Don't always defend with a center back in a fullback's role. You only do it that scenario when you dragged out that fullback out of position. For example here, the opponent manages to perform a pass and move and leave my fullback behind. Now this pass is open and dangerous because of this open way to my goal. So here, instead of sticking with this fullback and run backwards just because I want to maintain my team shape, this fullback is not in a position to defend this scenario. So I switch to my center back because he's in a good position to stop this player from moving towards my goal. I control that center back and I was able to deal with this attack smartly. The next step is to cut any open passing lane inside your box. This is so crucial while dealing with wingplay. Don't allow your opponent to pass into your box, because that's what a lot of players look for when attacking through the wing. These open passes are more dangerous because your defense line at this moment moves too deep, leaving a big space for open shooting angles like finesse shots, extra passes, and trivolas. So make sure you learn how to cut passing lanes. The next step is to cut the passing lane, and after you press the ball holder. This is somehow advanced, but it's very crucial in these moments. Don't cut the passing lane and remain passive in these positions. So after cutting the passing lane, pressure that player and challenge for the ball. For example here, as the opponent passes to his player in this position, I spot this pass and I immediately close that lane. But I know the opponent's skill level. He will remain patient and try to exploit this space. That's why I cut the pass and I immediately approach this player and I win the ball. The next step is to block the byline move. Some opponents are too smart. They will always pretend like they want to pass, just to bait you in an attempt to drive to the byline and look for a driven pass to any open striker. As the defender, I told you your main aim is to cut any open passing lane to the opponent's players in the box, but also you need to observe the opponent's movements with this player with the ball. If he tries to drive to the byline, move your defender diagonally in this format. Here you're applying pressure to that player, and at the same time cutting passing lanes to his strikers. You need to match the speed of that player with the ball. The moment you get closer, activate the speed jockey and tackle if you see the opportunity. For example here, the opponent manages to break through and he's now sprinting. That's why I also sprint in this scenario to match that speed. When he stops and I also stop. So here I'm close to this ball holder, so I activate the speed jockey, cutting off this passing lane, but I'm also observing the movements of this player. I move diagonally and the opponent tries to pass, but he was unable to find his player because I was positioning my player very well in the passing lane, and also applying pressure to his player. Another example, here the opponent has this open free space to drive and maybe find a cutback to any of his strikers and score. As the defender at this moment I'm a little bit behind, but I have a feeling that my fullback can defend this situation even though he's a little bit behind of this player. I chase down the opponent's winger and am able to block his way towards my goal. The opponent is smart and he didn't risk it, so he decided to stop and turn, but still he didn't have any open passing lane and he tries to dribble again. But my aim is to block that byline, so I ended up taking that ball. Our next step is to use the partial team press. This came last because you had to first learn the basics first. To perform the partial team press, you press the R1 or RB first, then you press and hold it for the second time. Two white icons will appear on two of your nearest defenders, and these defenders will mark the opponent's free players near the ball. We use this in the moments when we overcommit to close the byline, because by any chance if the opponent manages to break and pass the ball, it's easy to defend those moments. Your players will mark the opponent's free players and give the opponent hard time to get that ball to his strikers and score. For example here, as I'm rushing to close up this byline, I activate the partial team press and my players mark the opponent's players. I tackle the ball before the opponent attempts to pass, though at this moment I am a little bit unlucky. An opponent gets the rebound and gain control of the ball again. He attempts to force this pass and my player blocks it. He still gets that rebound, but I remain composed and no panicking. As he turns to look for his open striker, I activate the partial team press, and I run to block the byline. He passed to this player, but my defender was marking him and I was able to get this ball. Partial team press is so overpowered when defending wingplay, so you should start using this tool and deal with cutbacks. But as you know, this game you can sometimes do all the right stuffs to defend, but when luck is not on your side, you will concede sometimes, so don't get annoyed and get frustrated. One advice for you is to play the game when you're silent. Don't get frustrated when things are not going your side, because you will lose focus. Don't overtalk or complain. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.